Thanks everyone for joining today's session, Real Estate Experts, Conversations with Chima. This show is going to be a great one, guys. I have two fantastic ladies on the call today on the show with me, and they're going to be sharing about their business, their title business. They're going to be sharing about their experience. They're going to be sharing about what it really takes to succeed in this industry, this real estate industry. If you haven't watched any of these shows before, please consider subscribing, hit the like button, and we're going to jump right into the show. Hey, Shina, hey, Monzella, how you guys doing?
Hi.
Great.
I'm super excited to have you on the call today. This is one of the ones I've been looking forward to. I look forward to all my shows, but with you guys, you've always been an inspiration to me. And I know you're going to share with the viewers all that you know that can help them as well to be successful in business and also with their title work when it's time for them to buy or sell a property. So with that said, Shina, please tell us about yourself, tell us about your experience in this industry, and then Monzella, chime in once Shina's done.
Well, hello, everyone. I'm Sheila Parker, founder and CEO of Integrity Title. I've been in the industry for about 37 years. However, as a company, 21 years. We're excited because in January, we celebrate 22 years. This has been a remarkable journey for me. I started off in the industry as a marketing and sales rep about 37 years ago. And quickly, within a 2-year period, I kind of became a walk-in title company. The company that I was with, I stayed for 10 years. I was very dedicated, very loyal to that company. However, I hit the glass ceiling and I knew that I couldn't breathe, I couldn't stay. And so I launched out into I launched Integrity Title in January 1999, and the journey began.
And good morning, everyone. My name is Monzella Saunders Owings, and I'm the President and Chief Operating Officer of Integrity Title and Escrow Company. As Shina mentioned, we are celebrating this coming January 22 years in business. And for me, it's been 20 years in the title industry, but 28, believe it or not, as an attorney here in the state of Maryland. But what we're most proud of is that Integrity Title has more than stood the test of time. One of the things you learn early on as a business owner is people will give you 1 year, then 2 years. And then maybe if you make it to 5 years, they'll say, okay, well, maybe they'll be around a little bit longer. So we're very proud of the success that we've had in this industry. We specialize in both commercial and residential real estate closings. So we close office buildings, but we also close homes every day and all day, as well as handle refinance transactions. And our work is mostly in Maryland, but we also handle the District of Columbia as well as the Commonwealth of Virginia. Both of us are homegrown, meaning we were born and raised in Baltimore. So this is really special for both of us to build this business in this industry in the area in which we grew up. So we're very happy to be here today.
Awesome. If my math serves me right, 21, 38, how is that? What, that's a combined 60 years in the business,
Oh
ladies?
my gosh.
Sure.
Oh my goodness. Look, I'm trying not to talk about the years.
Yeah. Well, I stress that in that, guys, this is experience talking right now. I mean, listen to these ladies. All throughout my career, I've known them, and I've known them to be the hardest workers out there. So I know that when what they say holds volumes, and their work speaks for itself. You know, when in this title industry, their work speaks for itself. What inspired you ladies to start this business?
So for me, Chima, again, I worked in another firm for about 10 years. And one of the things that I realized in the title industry and as a whole, that it was not a lot of women in the industry, but more important, the excellence in service of clients bothered me, especially women and especially minorities. And so what I decided to do was I wanted to launch out to open a excellent Black title company, because all I heard when I got in the industry is that there were no excellent minority title companies. And so I set out to open a company that that had integrity, that had dignity, that served people, that it doesn't matter if you give us a $10,000 deal or you give us $1 million deal, we treat everyone the same. And so we wanted to make sure that we can serve people well and with excellence. And that's what we did. And when I look back at the journey, Monzella has been a blessing because we always call it divine. Because when I met her about a year or so after I opened, Monzella was doing something totally different, but it just clicked. And I always tell people about business relationships as well as relationships. You shouldn't have to work for anything. It should just click. And that's what happened with Monzella and I. And she made a decision to come aboard. And here we are almost 21 years later as a team.
Yeah, yeah. And Monzella, why did you join Shina? What inspired you to join in this, this integrity title? And was it always called integrity title?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. It's interesting. I think everyone has moments, and probably several moments in their life, where you know that it's time to make a change, but you may not be able to perfectly articulate what the change is and what needs to happen. And I was at that critical juncture in my professional life. I was an attorney for Baltimore City public school systems for 5 years, served under 5 different superintendents. And I was very successful in that job, but I was quickly learning that I just wasn't satisfied in a way, call it spiritual or whatever. I just simply was not satisfied where I was. And it wasn't about money, because I quickly went up the ranks and I was making more than enough money, but you realize that, that's really not enough. And so I could not articulate at that time what it was that was missing, but I knew I was not professionally satisfied. And so interestingly enough, Sheena and I were introduced through a friend, literally a family member of mine and a friend of Sheena's, and also a colleague who's been a realtor in the business for over 30 years. And she knew the various nuances. She knew where I was professionally. She knew where Sheena was professionally. And she made that decision to say, you know what, I think you guys should connect. I think you guys have something in common. And Sheena's right. We call it divine because there's really no other explanation, quite frankly, for how this came together. And we'll be forever grateful and thankful. And we do thank her all the time for making that connection, because once we finally connected and talked, and Sheena shared the vision of what she was trying to do in this industry and how she was trying to make a difference, it clicked. And I had that moment and said, yes, this is it. This is what I need to do. This is the change that I needed to make. And I want to make sure everyone's clear. It's not that it was easy, because there were a lot of reasons for me not to make that particular change at that time. And if I simply listened to my head, I probably would have never have made that transition. And so in the course of all of it, I share with people, when those moments come, you need to dig in, you need to listen. If you believe in God or whoever your higher power is, you need to really dig in and listen, because there's something that's happening at that moment.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I truly believe in that intuition, that inner voice. And sometimes we don't see it, right? We don't see what the next step is, but we sense that there is a next step, and we wait until such connections happen. And so do you still feel the same way now, Sheena, about the business, the reasons for starting? Does it still vibrate within you the same way?
Absolutely. We are loving where we're at in the position. It's taken us longer than we thought it would take, but we're here. And, Monzella said something to me some years ago. She says, if I had not taken this journey with you, you would not be able to pay me to tell me the stuff that we experience day to day. And so what people have to understand is that Monzella and I probably make it look easy. because we can't come cry on your shoulder. We can't, as a business professional, there is not a lot of people you can tell what's going on. So you have to stay strong because people don't want to do business with a company that look like they're failing or falling apart. And so to create a team that you can lean on, and Monzella has been a good rock. I mean, it does matter who you partner with because in the times that was bad, even in 2007, 8, when the real estate market just fell, you have to have a leader and you have to have a person that believe in your leadership. And we did all the right things, and here we stand now. All the odds was against us to fail and to fall, and here we are now, one, because we believe in a higher power where we
Absolutely.
don't know what else to do. All we can do is fall on our knees and believe by faith that what we were seeing and the vision that God had given me, I had to stand on that vision.
Still in that path. Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah,
the
mm-hmm.
Monzella?
Yeah, I mean, again, all that Sheena has said is 100% true. It takes a lot more than intellect. It takes a lot more than financial resources, no matter what you hear. And those things are important. I don't want to belittle that. But at the end of the day, every business owner is going to have challenges. And the difference between one business and the next is when all else fails and you can't see your way out, you're going to have to depend on something. And for us, that something is our spiritual base, it's our foundation, and it's the way out of no way. You really can't see how you're going to get through that wilderness situation. And we've had many, and Sheena's correct, people or clients or even family members don't really want to hear your sob story, quite frankly. So you end up having a very small network. And for us in 2007 and 8, it was really she and I who could really come behind closed doors and say, if we needed to fall apart that day, we needed to cry, it was okay because there was no judgment there. And then you shake it off and you say, okay, tomorrow's another day. I'm going to face it, and I'm going to handle whatever comes my way.
Not only that we shake it, we always say we got up and put our Maybelline back on. Right. And that's what makes a strong business, Chima, is that, one of the failures of most African American Black businesses is that they don't work as a team. They won't lay the foundation. Before you run, there's a foundation. And one of the things that I've always stood on, that's scriptural, is that lay the foundation down so that not only you can read it, but when you're trying to sell that vision, other people can see it. And so I think, people go, well, how did it begin? It began with God giving me a vision. And then I had a friend of mine sit me at my dining room table and we wrote the vision down. And then I looked at that vision and say, God, only you can make this happen, because I didn't have the money. And so when I look back and think that I took $10,000 from my credit card to create this company, and here we are 21 years later, one of the leading women-owned minority title companies in the state of Maryland, that is nothing but God. I don't give myself the praise because there's always been a divine power behind this. And so I believe that when God gives you a vision and you step out on that vision, it is his responsibility to make sure that you sustain.
Absolutely. And you guys are doing so phenomenally well. For the viewers, what is a title company? This business that you've put in place that serves the community at heights that hasn't been seen. And what would you say in a short sentence, what is a title company?
So I'll chime in and say a title company, I like to say, is that professional partner in a real estate transaction that, particularly in residential transactions, you may not always know exactly what they're doing, but they are working in many respects behind the scenes, making sure, first and foremost, the seller, whoever that seller is, whether it's a company or a person or persons, has the legal authority, actually has an interest in that property that gives them a right to sell it to you. That seems self-explanatory, but it actually is not the case. And particularly you'll see in residential transactions where a person may perceive, because they've been in that house for many years, it's been in their family, that when they go to sell, they have the right to sell that particular property, but that may not be the case. It may be that their grandmother left it to them, but an estate has to be opened in their grandmother's name. And so that's what the title company does, is provide some guidance to make sure the person or persons who signed that contract have the legal right to transfer that property to you. And then coupled with that, we're looking at title records to ensure as much as possible that the buyer has a peace of mind that when they take ownership of that property, they're not going to have a claim against their ownership in the property. So we do as much as we can to resolve or remove risk. And there's some risk that we still have to cover for because you can't see it, like fraud, like forgery. You can't see, touch, and feel if a deed that was done 20 years ago was done fraudulently or was done while an owner was in the nursing home and had no idea their house was being sold. You can't see and touch that from physical records. So that's what the title insurance is there, is for that risk that you can't possibly totally eliminate. We're there to say, if something should occur, we're covering you. We have the full force of our underwriter covering you and protecting you if there's a claim against your ownership.
Right. And a couple of things with that is that when people call us, I always say to people, you're buying a home, one of probably the largest purchases that you would do in a lifetime. And then on top of it, you've been approved for that loan. But what happens is when it comes to the title part of it, the settlement, people only see us as a settlement. And so one of the things that we do as a company, we take our time. I'm the owner, Monzella's the owner, my staff, we take the time to explain to clients that we are more than just a title company. And that when you're buying such a property, it is important. It matters what title company you go to. You don't want to just, we've had people not use us for $50. Like, that's crazy, but you go to a title company that's not going to record your deed after settlement or not disperse your funds correctly. So we're more than a title company. And I think that more value should go into it, not only with the client, but it's the way the real estate agent also deliver what a title company is as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what is the biggest reason? I know, Monzella, you covered some of that. What's the biggest reason a buyer should use a title company, and do they have to use a title company?
Yes, sir. You cannot buy a home. You cannot buy a piece of commercial property. No type of transfer of property can be done without a title company, which tells you that we're significant. That it tells you in the midst of COVID that our company is considered essential. We have not closed down since March. We've been in here working every day. So it's an essential part of the real estate industry. Unfortunately, by other companies, it's been dumbed down to be just a settlement transaction. And that's not what title companies are there for. So we encourage our clients when they call, when they're looking for a title company, if they don't even use us, do your homework on that title company. What is their track record? Do they have money? Do they have loss? Are there recordings out there? What is their underwriter saying about them? So those type of things are very important.
Absolutely. Monzella, did you want to chime in?
Yeah, I would just add that oftentimes, because technically a buyer can elect not to have title insurance, and we highly recommend that buyers never make that decision, particularly when it's just for a few $100s. But as Shina was saying, if you are going to a lender and a lender is loaning you money, the lender absolutely requires title insurance and will not allow that property close without it. So if it is important enough for a lender, it should be important to you, because hey, guess what? Their title insurance will not cover you. So truly, when clients understand what title insurance really does for them, it's typically in the course of a refinance. And I mention refinances because at the time when you decide, either because of a lower interest rate, which right now we have extremely low interest rates, that you want to either pull money out of the property or just get the lower rate, a updated title search is done. And so here's a scenario. If you don't have title insurance, and the lender, as part of the title research, finds that there are loans from prior owners, there are tax liens from prior loaners, you don't get to refinance that property. If you don't have title insurance, the lender has no choice but to deny that loan because the title is not clear. So your title insurance is there to provide the coverage that you need. If something like that should occur, your title insurance fully covers you and allows you to move forward, to refinance, allows you to move forward to sell the property. It gives you what we also call marketable title.
Yes.
So marketable title means when the time comes when you either need to refinance or you need to sell the property, title is not going to be the obstacle that keeps you from moving forward. That's what marketable title is.
Nice, nice. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. What sets you guys apart? What makes you different, Shina?
Integrity, dignity, responsibility, reliable, honest. When we look at our 21-year journey, we dot the I's and cross the T's, and sometimes we have lost clients because of that, and we're willing to do it. We opened this company to set a standard in the industry. And when you bring your deals to us, we do it right. We do it right. And so again, I think that's what makes us stand out more. We're women, we are Black, we're a minority, whatever they want to call it. We stand out because of our name. And that's why we called and I selected to name the company Integrity Title. I always told people, because of the things that I see in the industry, I call it integrity, and on purpose, because I never want to lose my way. So every day I walk into integrity. I have no excuse to do anything wrong because it's in my face every day. And not that I would ever do anything, but again, integrity is a strong statement. And
Pillar of your business.
oh my God, we have lived strongly by it for 21 years. And Monzella, please, chime in on that with me.
Yeah, I mean, it starts with integrity, it ends with integrity. And then everything else in between is reputation,
Yes.
is knowledge base, it's the fact that you want to do it correctly. And any professional will tell you, you can shoot for 100%. No, you're not always going to hit that 100%, but your intention is everything. The fact that you intend every day, all day, to hit the mark. And then if you fall short, you're able to stand in integrity and say, this is what happened. And we stand by it. We will make sure that it's correct. You know, anyone who says that they're 100% perfect, and Chima, you know this, it's a lie. No one is 100% perfect, but their intention should be there. Their intention to do things correctly, and again, to operate with integrity.
Absolutely. And so, Shina, go ahead.
And I gotta say, Chima, when Monzella became partners with me years ago, I mean, as a business owner, I was not happy, not with the industry, but the pressure that was put on me as a woman-owned Black title company. The pressure was extreme. And let's fast forward 21 years ago, we're still under the same pressure to be 1,000% better than the next company. We used to say 100, but it's 1,000. But we are grateful to it because it has caused us to step up and be an excellent company. We didn't like what we were going through, but the end result 21 years later, we wouldn't trade it for the world.
Nice. What are your roles, each of you? What do you, on a daily basis, what are your roles?
So my role as president and chief operating officer is that I'm responsible for the internal operations. So all of the departments fall under me. The buck stops with me, if you will. And so I'm always interested in how we're doing, how can we do better, what things are yet for us to learn, to master. As Sheena said, we are constantly pushed to be 1,000% better. But it really has shaped who we are because it's through, if we didn't hit the mark on this particular time, we learned from it. And I say to my staff, the key is to learn from a mistake, and then you shoot to not to go down that path again.
Yeah.
And to move forward. So I'm constantly looking at where we are as a business, how we can continue to grow, how we can continue to grow in excellence. And the vision never stops. I mean, we never stop shooting for the next level. I also am responsible for encouraging the leadership that is within our company and under me, to help them strive to go to levels maybe they didn't think they would go to. Not everyone in our company graduated from college, and that's fine. That does not mean that that's the end of your story. And so I'm also a mentor in many ways in encouraging the people under me to see themselves as more and see themselves as part of this greater vision that is called Integrity Title.
Absolutely. And Shina?
So again, as the CEO here, I'm the visionary. I am a visionary. I'm always dreaming. My staff laugh. I'm up 5:30 in the morning. They're getting emails. I'm always doing something. So the vision of this company is not to just be a simple one-stop shop. It's to be really universal. And so what I do a little bit of everything. My hands is in everything that Monzella said, but what Monzella does is give me the ability to be able to do the other things. So I focus on the marketing, the sales, the client contacts, the commercial, the residential, ideas. We're always coming up with things. So and just customer relation. The CEO of a company is that person. Sometimes I told Monzella, if people say my name one more time, because you have to be that go-to person as well that people can rely on. And being in the business for 37 years, I always tell Monzella, I've spoiled my clients. I've spoiled them, which is fine, but I've also made great friends. So again, I've been able to follow the vision that I initially wrote down. God has blessed the company with the proper people in the company that gets the vision. Because you can have a company, but if your team don't get the vision, it's going to be division.
Yeah.
And so we, that's what I do. I mean, we, of course, Manzella and I both, of course, we do settlements and we do all the other things that's operational. But the thing that has made us so successful is that we've been able to really respect our roles. And so, I don't step into what Monzella do, and Monzella, we has no desire to step in what I do. We respect what we bring, and it works. And if you can do that, you continue to grow.
It sounds like the perfect yin and yang. It's that perfect balance, perfect circle. You guys complement each other so well. For the viewers, what advice would you give anyone that's in the middle of of this dilemma of how do I find that other person? I know you guys were introduced to each other, but have you, through your years, if you had to do it all over again and you didn't have a Monzella or you didn't have a Shina, what would you advise that person to do?
Well, one of the things, Chima, is Monzella and I, we just completed our book. The name of it is Relentless Faith. And the reason why we named it that, because there is no way we could have survived without relentless faith. And so one of the things that I would like to share, a few things with your viewers, is that the book talks about our journey And what we do is we take them back from the beginning, even before I got in the business, because what we wanted to show people is that every stage in your life is a journey. And if you really go back and look at that journey, you'll understand that it was divine.
Mhm.
And so we also tell nuggets about what it took for us to get at the end of every chapter, the nuggets that it took for us to get there, the good and the bad, and how we overcame. And so, again, I just think that what I would share with people, if you have a dream, you have to follow that dream, and you have to understand maybe other people won't support your dream,
Mhm.
but you have to believe in it, because if you don't, people that walk away, they never believed anyway. You have to be able to stand in what you want to do despite what people say, do, or think. And you must understand that if the dream is divine, if it's your purpose, it's going to happen. And so I always think that if I had not first trusted the vision, sat down and wrote that vision down, when season, time, and purpose came, I wouldn't have had something to present. So I didn't get it. I had to see the vision first. And when I wrote it down, when it didn't look like it was happening, I kept going back to it. But when that phone call came and I was able to walk in with the vision and then sold that vision, everything opened.
Yeah.
And so again, you got to be relentless. You got to be able to stand in what you believe despite your family. When we talk about Monzella, I mean, her family was like, "Are you crazy? You don't know that woman." But what was in Monzella, she went to her husband, he agreed, she stood.
Mhm.
What if she had listened to what other people couldn't see? And so what we have to understand, our lives are not for everybody to see. It's
Mhm.
for us to see.
Yeah.
And if we can see what our purpose is, if we can see our vision and our dreams, we're unstoppable. And
Yeah.
trust me, take Monzella and I, because we walked in it, the provision was there.
Yeah.
And I am firm with that. If you're where you're supposed to be,
You have
the vision, I don't care what you're going through, the provision is there.
the
And that's
provision is there. The
without question.
provision is
Without
there.
question.
You're always going to be all the tools that you need for your journey is always going to be it's always going to be placed in front of you. Whether
Chima.
you see it or not
Yep.
is
It's
up to you.
there.
It's there. It's
And
there.
most people miss, because God said, go across the street,
Mhm.
and they still on the other side, and the blessing is across the street.
Asking, show it to me on this side. But he said,
Right.
go across the street. But they're like, no, I gotta see it here.
No, they
You gotta
scared to
take that
cross
step.
over.
You guess,
And so
yeah,
people always
yeah,
ask, well, what,
yeah.
what is your success story? How did you do it? Every
You
step of
moved.
the way, I trusted what
Yeah,
God was giving me in the inner man. And I didn't know, but I trusted. And the only reason I will say it to the end, I don't care how successful we are, it was only because we trusted in the thing that we couldn't see,
Mhm.
and we moved forward, and God was there. I have this picture in my office of this woman walking on a mountain. And I remember when I saw it, I cried because it was right where I was at that time. And the wind was blowing. The artist captured the picture, and you could see the wind blowing in her dress. She was blindfolded, and she was walking to the edge of the ocean. She was
oh,
getting ready to walk off a rock.
mm,
And right at the edge of that rock was God's hand.
mm,
She didn't know it, but
mm-hmm,
she trusted. And
mm-hmm,
I remember seeing that picture. I stood in that store after you buy the picture. I stood in that store and cried like a baby, because it ministered to me, because where I was,
mm-hmm,
I could
mm-hmm,
have quit.
mm-hmm.
And I had to, it was a reminder that despite what you see, you have to trust. And so
Yeah,
we always talk about faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Sometimes you win through looking at down the road at
yeah,
the vision, at what you don't see. And I never understood that until I got into business.
yeah. You gotta send me that. You gotta send me that picture, Sheila, so I can post it for the viewers.
Yeah, I will. Matter of fact, I'm gonna invite you, and you can come and take a picture yourself.
I will do that.
It's a beautiful picture, and it's always a reminder.
I will do that. Monzella?
Yeah, the only thing I want to add to what Shina is saying is that along this 21-year journey, there have been times where we have lost our way. And what I mean by that, there's times where we've taken our eye off God. And we always know when it is, because it's either sleepless nights or there's something burning within inside. And we have had to minister to each other and say, well, wait a minute, that's not what got us here. It wasn't all about the intelligence and thinking it through everything with our heads. Sometimes it came back to, as the elder folks would say, in the midnight hour, where you are on your knees and you're crying out and you're really seeking wisdom. Okay, not that what you could see, but seeking it in a way that your gut, your intuition tells you this is the way, even though it might not seem the way to go, but this is the way to go. And so there have been times where we have to circle back and we have to check ourselves as owners of this business to say, you did not get this far because of your high level of intelligence, because of your motivation, because
you're not so cute.
Right, and you're cute, right? It was none of that. And so I also think that has provided longevity to us because, again, I will readily say to anyone, there have been times when we've lost our way and lost sight of what God had planned for us. And the thing is that he'll remind you. Stop you in your tracks when you think you're going in the right direction.
And that's a good point. So to the viewers, because I have folks always asking me, how do you know that it's God that's speaking to you? How do you know? How do you know when it's God that's speaking?
I had that answer. And I tell Monzella this all the time. You can use this in business and you can use this in your personal life. Follow your peace.